Greetings, this is Amy Wentley with Chai Knuckles Knitting, and this is episode 2021-16, Basic Socks, Shaping the Toe. So we're working on a sock, and let's say that these white stitches on my double pointed needles now are the foot of my sock. And we're coming to the point now where we want to start to shape for the toe. So I'm working on a baby size socks on big needles and big yarn. So I have 9 stitches on needle 1, 18 stitches on needle 2, and 9 stitches on needle 3. If you're working a women's size socks, you'll have 15 on needle 1, 30 on needle 2, 15 on needle 3. So, one thing you want to make sure of when you start is, there's a possibility that you might have shifted your stitches around on your needle. You should be sure at this point that your 30 stitches at the bottom are at the bottom of the foot of your sock, because things will be lined up like this. Let me zoom out a little bit for you so you can see a little bit better. So you had your heel down here, and this is where you turned your heel. This is the bottom of the sock, and then you worked your foot. So you want to be starting out where your needle 2 stitches, your 30 stitches, are along this part of your foot so that your toe will line up with your heel. So the way that we're going to do shaping of the toe is we're going to have paired decreases. So we're going to work the stitches on needle 1 up until the last 3 stitches, and we're going to do a knit 2 together, and then we're going to knit 1. Then we're going to do a decrease on needle 2. So this time you get to do decreases on needle 2. And you're going to knit 1 and you're going to knit 2 through the back loop. Then you're going to work to 3 stitches to the end of needle 2. And you're going to work a knit 2 together and a knit 1. And then you will be working right away a decrease on needle 3. You'll knit 1 and then you're going to knit 2 together through the back loop and work to the end. So you're going to have a decrease at the end of needle 1, beginning of needle 2, end of needle 2, and beginning of needle 3. So this is going to be a knit 2 together, knit 2 through the back loop, knit 2 together, knit 2 through the back loop. So I'm going to show you how that works. I'm going to use a different color yarn so that you can see things as they are progressing, and we'll show you how to go ahead and do this. So let me zoom in just a little more for you again. Maybe even a little more than that. Okay, there we go. So at this point, if you were going to do your toe a separate color, this is where you could add your new color when you do the toe decreases. So you go ahead and you would take your new color or your working yarn if you're doing it with the same yarn, and you go ahead and you start to work the stitches on needle 1, and I only have 9 here, so that's nice. And I will make sure that I use my working yarn and not my tail. I have been known to do that. So we're going to work here until 3 stitches before the end. So here I am, 3 stitches before the end, and I'm going to knit these 2 together, and they are going to lean to the right. And then I will knit 1. And now I'm going to move to needle 2. So here's needle 2. I'm going to knit 1. So you're always beginning or ending with a knit 1. That gives you a nice little kind of border stitch before your decreases. So now this decrease is going to be a knit 2 through the back loop. So I'm going to put my needle through the back of both of those stitches, wrap the yarn and pull it through. There we go. And just tug those 2 tight to avoid a ladder. And then I'm going to work until the last 3 of needle 2. I'm coming up to it. 5, 4. Okay, I've got 3 stitches left now on needle 2, right there. And I'm going to knit these 2 together. And pull it through. And then I have 1 stitch that actually got twisted at the end here. Let me get it on my needle correctly. And I'm going to knit 1, and then that's going to end needle 2. Ta-da! And then we're going to go move to needle 3, and we are going to knit 1 because we're going to start and end every needle with a knit 1. So knit 1 on needle 3, and then this is going to be a knit 2 together through the back loops. So I'm going to put my needle through the back of both of those stitches, wrap my yarn, and pull through. My yarn is very splitty, I'm sorry. That's what's going on here while I'm trying to get my yarn to behave. Okay. Thank you for your patience. There we go. Finally got that stitch on the needle. Oh, no I didn't. I actually split my working yarn too. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your patience. So that's knit 2 together through the back loop, and I'm going to work to the end of needle 3. And then that completes that round. So this is the first decrease round. So now you have finished doing a decrease round, and this is round 1 of 2 that you're going to be doing. You are going to alternate decrease rounds with plain rounds from now until you repeat that a certain number of times depending on your sock size. So for this baby sock here, I'm going to repeat rounds 1, the decrease round, and round 2, the plain round, a total of 4 times, which will be 8 rounds total. For a woman's size sock, you'll be alternating rounds 1 and 2 7 times for a total of 14 rounds. So at this point right now, we have done 1 decrease round, and I just want to show you something for your information. So let's say I picked up the sock, and at this point, and I didn't know whether it was time to do a decrease round or a plain round. And what you can do is look at where you think you did your last decrease. So on here, I think I can get us a little bit closer here so you can see this really well. Okay, so right here is where you did your decrease. And if you look right under it, you can see this is the stitch that you did that resulted from doing your decrease. Right underneath it, you can see that there are 2 stitches that came together, that were worked together to result in that stitch. So that tells me when I did this row that was on my needle, it was a decrease row because this stitch has 2 stitches under it. So that's a decrease row. If I pick this up and I see my stitch and there's 1 stitch under it and then 2 stitches below that, I know I just completed a plain round. So my next round is going to have to be a decrease round. So I'll show you that in a minute. But I know now, looking at this, that I took 2 stitches and I combined them for 1 stitch, and this was a decrease round. And I'm going to pause now, work a plain round, and I'll be right back with you. Greetings, I'm back. So I just finished completing a plain round, and I'll show you one more time how to do a decrease round. But before I do that, I want to show you again, if I were to just pick this up, and I wouldn't necessarily know if my last round was a decrease or an increase round, what I can do is I can go to the end of my first needle and look underneath. And if you look closely, this is a stitch on the needle. The stitch under it is a single stitch. The stitch under that one are actually 2 stitches that were knit together. So these 2 stitches that were knit together resulted in this stitch here, and then this stitch on my needle was from a plain round, because I have a plain stitch here and a plain stitch underneath it. So I know the last row I did was a plain row. So I know this time I'm going to do a decrease round. And I will show you very quickly how to do that one more time. If you don't want to see it one more time, this is a good time to stop the video. Okay, so now we're going to start the decrease round, and I'm going to start on needle 1, and I'm going to work to 3 stitches before the end, and I want to pull those first 2 stitches tight to keep from developing ladders. And I'm going to work to 3 stitches before the end, and then I am going to knit these 2 together. There you go. And then knit 1. So that's needle 1. Now I'm going to move to needle 2, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to knit 1, and then I'm going to knit 2 together through the back loop. So first one is knit 1, and I'm going to pull that one tightly to make sure I don't develop ladders, and I'm going to knit 2 through the back loop. There you go. And I'm going to work until I have 3 stitches left before the end. And then when I get to 3 stitches before the end, I'm going to knit 2 together. There you go, and knit 1. And then when I go to needle 3, there we go, running into the camera and all kinds of fun stuff. I'm going to knit 1, and I'm going to pull that one tight to keep from getting ladders. And then this next one will be a knit 2 together through the back loop. There you go. And then I knit to the end of needle 3. And so I've done another decrease round. So again, you are going to alternate decrease rounds with plain rounds. If you're doing a woman's sock, you're going to do that 2 round business 7 times for a total of 14 rounds. When you get to that point, you are then going to work a decrease round every single round until you have 4 stitches left on needle 1, 8 stitches left on needle 2, and 4 stitches left on needle 3. And so that ends this video for today. There's going to be a follow-on video on how to do the Kitchener stitch to close the toe. So please look for that. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.